And we are live. Welcome everybody to the first COTI live stream of 2026. I'm sitting here with Amateo, Shahaf, Joshua. May be joining us today still, and Brad. Does anybody know if Joshua's coming down or
not today? He's got double booked,
today?
So it's just the four of us.
All right. Well, how's it going, guys? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, if I'm going to drop Alpha immediately, right? Joshua is not here because he's with the Ethereum guys.
I'm sure everybody will like to hear that.
Yeah.
So
for good reason.
2026, 2026 COTI's mission is to take privacy mainstream. You guys might be noticing a new face here, but this is Amateo. I'd like you to introduce yourself and say hello to the COTI community.
Hey, everybody. I know you guys have been with this community for a long time, and I'm jumping in as a fresh face, but I'm really happy to be here. I've taken the role as CMO. I've been working in the crypto and blockchain space for over 7 years, building and marketing and growing, generated millions of users for different projects and different products, and have had an amazing experience learning, growing in the space. I'm excited to bring all of that experience and growth to COTI and to be working with this amazing team. In the time that I've been here, I've just been blown away by what the vision and mission is. And it's been almost a month exactly, and we've just locked in and we're moving fast. I'm excited to talk about all the plans that we have for this year and beyond. But it's great to be here and great to meet all of y'all. Shoot me a follow, shoot me a message. I'm here to be involved in the community. I want you guys to feel like you got access to me here. So nice to meet you all formally.
Yeah, and I just want to take a minute to thank everybody for being with us today live. If you're rewatching the stream or you're live with us now, please share the stream and help everybody learn about what 2026 is going to bring for COTI. We had a little bit of an introduction from Amateo, but just really quickly, I'll go to Brad and then Shahaf. Could you please just introduce yourselves really quickly? We probably all know who you are, but let's do it anyways, just for fun.
For sure. So hi, everyone. Brad here, Biz Dev Manager at COTI. I've been here it's coming up to a year, which is quite scary. But I've been in the COTI community for about 5 years, I would say. So long-time proponent of COTI. And now making a tangible difference in the ecosystem, which is nice. But I'll let Shahaf go.
Yeah, well, I've been in COTI for a while now as well, as CEO for COTI.
All right, guys, let's jump right into it. So, and Shahaf, you've been talking about this for longer than 2 years, and you've been talking about everybody who's talking about privacy then, and now you really are starting to see it trickle down to everybody. Even, just the influencers on X are really starting to grasp this privacy thing. A16Z said privacy will be the most important moat in crypto. So from your perspective, you were kind of like one of the front runners of this. I'd just like you to bring us in with that topic in mind.
Yeah. Well, I'll try not to repeat myself, right? But why do they call it a moat and not just like very important feature? I assume that everybody by now understand why privacy is so important to blockchains. It's the biggest unlock since scalability, if you ask me. And scalability became a prerequisite for anything that you do right now. Like if you're a blockchain and you don't have high scalability, then why are we even having this conversation, right? So that's granted. Now, privacy is a tricky thing because if you want to build it as at the foundation level, it can be an afterthought. So if you are already live and out there and haven't built privacy to begin with, then it's super difficult and it's usually a compromise, right? And a lot of the things that we see right now, whether it's DEXs and all those that offer privacy, is usually an afterthought. And usually, if you double click enough, you'll find where the whole experience becomes centralized, and this is why it can offer privacy. So that's one thing. The other thing is, if everything is the same and everybody have high scalability and you have things like layer 0 and bridges, et cetera, and you can just move around and you can have USDC and all sorts of chains, et cetera, then blockchain is just a commodity. Like, why is Arbitrum better than Optimism? Like, what's the difference, right? Privacy is trickier because if you shield something or you make an asset private on a certain blockchain, then it's there, and unshielding it is a major risk, and for the data to be unveiled, right? Because if this is the vault and something is now out of the vault, then it's out of the vault, right? There's no way around it. You can't. There's no sleight of hand there, right? And bridging secret assets between chains is incredibly difficult and risky. So if someone have secret information, private assets, and all of that at one specific chain, then it will usually remain there. And this is why it's a moat, because A, you've built it beforehand and not as an afterthought, and B, because it's sticky. And it tends to stay there, and this is why A16Z, rightfully see this as a moat, and this is why it's very exciting. It's difficult to be excited because of market conditions right now. I get it, right? I get that most folks, want to be in a market that is growing and kind of like see upside. I totally get it. I'm not, Vitalik in that sense. But if you kind of like remove that and just ask yourself, are we doing the right thing? Like, are we kind of like, is this a right assumption? Did COTI choose, like, is this the right path? Well, absolutely so. And we just have, every day we have more confirmation that we've done it. Like, if 2 years ago you would have told me A16Z is going to post about privacy being like the biggest moat in 2026, can I pay for that thing to happen? Like, how can we arrange for that? Matteo, can you speak with their marketing team and arrange for that, right? But now it just happened, right? And the market is dire, so we don't see it. But if market behaves in cycles, and I think it's a good assumption, if privacy is going to be big, it's a good assumption, then we will have our day. And this is why I'm calm while others, are desperate right now, or resort to FUDing, or just pick the wrong narrative, or just build the wrong thing for the last few years. So that's my very long answer to your question.
Yeah, I can jump in there too with a few thoughts. Privacy really clicked for me when I started to realize that essentially crypto and blockchain couldn't actually offer the full-fledged individual freedoms that it promised without privacy. And that was like a huge piece of why I got into the space, was protecting not only personal freedoms, but actually innovating technology that allows assets to move at a higher velocity, because that is a key for increasing economic conditions for people all over the world. But I think to what Shahaf said, the thing that is really unique Because with AI, there's very few moats. Software is no longer much of a moat. Everything is getting disrupted, and apps are being abstracted away. So what we see is actually the reduction of moats across technology at the fastest rate we've ever seen. um, and so, but what A16Z correctly highlights is that when these assets come into a privacy network, they are not going to leave because it's critical that they stay. It's critical that they use those things, and that allows for traction and growth, something that COTI's already well ahead of with working with various pilot programs and enterprises to move these assets into privacy. And that sort of cements the moat. So I agree that it's right now accrual privacy is still in its very early stages, but as this becomes realized this year, the opportunity is just absolutely monumental, and it's really exciting to be not only witnessing the way that the landscape is shaping around privacy, but also to be a part of building it with the team. So yeah, those are some initial thoughts.
Yeah, I'll pile in as well. So I agree. I think a moat is a moat because it's inherently difficult to achieve. If you look at privacy, we've discussed this many times, but the computation overhead, the ease of implementation, it's very hard to establish an agnostic privacy tool. When you look at what we've built out, it's something that is incredibly performative. It's very scalable, stands up to real-time needs, and it's very cheap, and that's very hard to do. And I think that's what gives us the moat that we have. Speaking on what A16Z have said, not to be a total echo, but I agree. Historically, I think blockchains have been quite substitutable. It's very easy to move from one to another, and in terms of differentiating opportunities, they're not really there. When it comes to privacy, and we've touched on this, but when you go into a private construct, you go into a private blockchain, as you migrate in and out, you lose a lot of that privacy. And so that's why it becomes sticky. So if you establish a chain that is private, but is very performative in its privacy, and you couple that with good ecosystem opportunities, the right stacks, and the right yield protocols, then you don't really have a reason to leave. And as a chain, that makes you very sticky. It gives you the moat you want. I think if you also look at A16Z, they talk about AI agents, and they talk about the ability to keep the strategy or the intent of the agent private as something that's really important as a moat. And they also talk about programmable controls on data. So if you actually read through that A16Z article, what you'll find is some stark parallels between what they're advocating as the future and what we already have. So it's I think we're in a good position, but privacy is definitely the biggest moat for the next 5+ years.
It's funny when you said, Shahaf, that trying not to repeat yourself, because you have been talking about this publicly and before that on the back end with the team for over 2 years. So we get it, right? Everybody's talking about privacy. You've been talking about privacy for a long time. So now, how is COTI going to really take that to the next level in 2026? And me personally, one thing I'm really excited to hear more about, and we've talked about it a little bit before, and you said it's very, very difficult. But for me, privacy on demand just seems like such an interesting concept. So privacy on demand and beyond, what's the big stuff? What's COTI's secret sauce for 2026 in taking privacy mainstream?
Sure. So there's a few things, right? Let's start with privacy on demand. So privacy on demand is our product name for multi-chain privacy. Essentially, the offering, that Brad and Joshua will market to dApps on multiple chains. The offering is you don't need to migrate what you're already doing. You just need to change the contract a bit, and then COTI serves as a private confidential backend for your activity, which is an easier sell than just hey, migrate everything that you do. Now, Zama is doing similar thing with their layer of coprocessors, or whatever the implementation is. And I think it's going to be mainstream. Power packs for existing chains that already have a lot of traction. We're going to be part of that game. So essentially, obviously, this is very difficult to build, right? So Zama's entire stack is this. This for us is a product, right? It's very difficult to build. I think we will be there in about 90 days or so. And then it's a business development effort, and working with clients, you can kind of continuously improve what you do. We'll pick a few chains to begin with, probably EVM to begin with, because that's the easiest. And we'll take it to the road. So what to expect? Expect announcement of working with specific chains, and then the onboarding of certain dApps that will use this technology. Obviously, you can see the activity on COTI, because the way this works is that COTI is just the backend, and you can just see everything happens on chain with COTI, but confidential, of course. So that's privacy on demand. That's a big thing. Why? Because it helps with adoption, and it means that we can tap into where users already are. Okay. The second is, I think privacy will be the biggest to begin with. Like I said, three things, right? I said private DeFi, private RWA, because the demand is there. Institutions need privacy, require privacy. That's their duty. And PayFi, so private stablecoins using for specific private payments. I want us to lead private DeFi, because I think this is the most interesting and important use case for privacy. We can definitely be there, because we are already super strong when it comes to perpetuals. With Privex is doing amazing. And with there, and most of the activity, though they are both on Base and on COTI, most of the activity is on COTI, and hundreds of millions in daily transaction volume, and they will go private very soon, and have their offering private, and then I do believe this will kickstart a new category, which is private DeFi, and I plan for us to lead that category. Okay, and I think private DeFi will be super important. RWA, I want us to launch the first private asset on top of COTI. And again, I think it will be the world's first as well. I think that partnership wasn't announced, so I'm not going to announce it now, but we've partnered with major infrastructure for RWA. We're creating a standard for private assets with them, and the first asset will launch. For PayFi, so what I want to do is, first off, build private stablecoins on top of COTI, or just the wrapped version, but shield it on top of COTI. We saw Zama recently doing their first USDT transfer. Of course, we could have done that in March probably, but we'll do that, but then connect it to wallet. So we have the MetaMask Snap integration. We will improve that and introduce another major wallet. Now, so I think these will be the three major use cases for privacy, and this means mainstream because of institutions and where users are. Other than that, improved nodes, improved treasury. So Node V2 ecosystem, that will happen this quarter. There are a few news there. Why not drop it now? So the idea to begin with was licenses, which meant some costs for people to run nodes and so on. We're not going to do that. We're going to open this up for everybody and anybody. Everything from the US to wherever you are, you can run a node. The idea is to make it super accessible, not just in terms of it will not cost you money, other than the server and the infrastructure, but also make it very easy. So vibe noding. Essentially, you can, I think everybody are so much powerful right now because of AI, and it's everywhere, right? You have your agent trading on Privex. People just built games, right? Like their own games on top of using the Santa campaign. People can run nodes as well. So we're going to introduce that and offer this for everybody. So I expect a lot of people to be able to run nodes. Once that's done, we'll start to roll out Treasury V2. So Treasury V2, other than being stable, which is incredibly basic but important, and we failed that for a while. I think it's much better now, but it's going to be much better once we roll that out. And people that run nodes at a certain threshold can run treasuries. So that's the idea there, and create their mini economies. And I think the another thing that I want to mention is, yes, we were talking about privacy very early on. We weren't the only one. There are others out there. What separates us is performance. I intend to be obnoxiously vocal about, it's great that you can also do privacy, but at what scale and at what costs? Because there's a lot of people out there saying right now, hey, we're going to introduce this and that, etc. But okay, but can you do DeFi with it? Probably not. How expensive is this? Very much so. And we with the gobbled circuits that we have, we could just do everything better, and we will prove that and benchmark. And people that the fact that some have just gone into mainnet just allows us to demonstrate things. So Amateo is out there comparing, benchmarking, and we'll let everybody know. Lastly is probably liquidity. So more tokens bridged into COTI. The recent update was USDT and ADA. But there will be more. And we will also make it easier. The current bridge implementation, while for onboarding new tokens, while it works, it's a bit cumbersome. So we plan on improving that, and that will add liquidity, but also V2 liquidity. So listings, new pairs. We've been super strong with centralized exchanges, not as strong with decentralized exchanges. Why not? So we're going to work on that as well.
All right. Do you guys want to?
Sure.
That was quite a mouthful. Do you guys want to chime in on that at all? My favorite part was like the no more Mr. Nice Guy. I think that was like the highlight of that whole monologue. Just saying, but yeah.
I was never a nice guy. It's important. it's
I don't want to encourage it further, but I think the only other thing, as well as being the easiest blockchain to build on this year as well, is another major focus amongst all that other stuff. But yeah, I totally agree. I think this year, importantly for me in BD as well, is privacy on demand. This is the year we turn it from vision to execution. So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, I want to touch on privacy on demand, because essentially what privacy on demand does is it allows for an exponential network effect, meaning we integrate a major blockchain. That blockchain already comes with a laundry list of dApps and developers and builders, all of which are looking to establish themselves and to stand out. And everyone has got the memo that if you want to stand out, if you want to win in 2026 and beyond, that privacy is the way to do it. So they're looking for a way to enable privacy so that they can establish their own moat and be able to be in the narrative as well as the category defining trend. And so by integrating a major blockchain, we are able to immediately connect to all of those builders, to all of those developers, to all of those projects, to all of those communities, and to use that network effect effort to grow COTI. And that is like a extremely significant initiative that allows us to grow by orders of magnitude, rather than one new project at a time, embracing our privacy stack. It allows this flood of those who are already building on some EVM based chain and then beyond to embrace privacy. So I think that the unspoken thing that's happening right now is all of these projects, all these dApps, especially those that have tokens, are looking to say, what can we do to stand out this year, right? We've had 3 years, 4 years of rough market conditions for altcoins. They're looking for what's the next big thing that they can embrace, that they can innovate, and everyone knows that it's privacy. And so now what they need is functional, easy to use tools that are also scalable, that they can embrace off the bat. And that opens so much for us from a marketing and growth perspective, from a community perspective, and it's just really exciting. So I just wanted to like double click on that because it's extremely significant and allows us to build bridges between all of these other chains and communities. And then all of this can flow through those bridges from liquidity to users. And that's very, very exciting. So yeah.
Privacy on demand has been a big thing for us, and talking about that for years. The community is all over it. I think we could talk for hours and hours and hours about that. But we do have something coming up in a few days, right? And not a lot of people know what's coming with Helium. Shahaf, can you talk a little bit about what Helium is going to unlock for our partners?
Well, it will unlock private DeFi, right? I won't bore you with the technicalities, etc. The important features is probably unlocking privacy for big numbers, which I've mentioned before. 256 beats, etc. The sort of things that other chains can't do right now, and that means that they can't do DeFi right now. The reality is that they can't. So it unlocks. This is what it unlocks. What it means is that Privex can do private DeFi, right? This is the unlock. So once Helium is out, there's some integrations that need to be done, but I expect it to come very fast afterwards. But also, Carbon and others. So this is the most important thing for Helium, private DeFi.
Yeah, let's actually just double click on private DeFi as well, right? Like if you look at 2025, there was 2 defining trends. There was perps that went decentralized, and there was prediction markets. And the reality is those are 2 defining trends of last year. That's what made things. And it's where we saw the greatest user adoption, greatest liquidity, and the greatest mainstream exposure of blockchain and crypto related based tools. But ultimately, people want access to these tools, but they need privacy to actually enter them. That is, the pseudo-anonymous effect of these things is not enough. You see this with all of the tracking of whales and what those are associated to when it's associated to organizations and individuals on Hyperliquid. This is not something that everybody wants. While some maybe want that, others don't want their trading strategies to be revealed. This is going to be even more important with AI agents, where the actual strategies and the assets, the allocations, the longs, the shorts, the leverage, those decisions that are it's making, they do not want that to be exposed, because otherwise nothing is proprietary in the space. So people want to build proprietary trading technology on the rails that were the breakout trend, whether that's prediction markets, arbitrage, or perps. But for many of these institutions, many of these quants, hedge funds, et cetera, to actually get exposure to these technologies, they can't be revealing how they're getting exposure. And that privacy is absolutely critical for those things. So I think that what we see next year is that privacy being applied to the leading trends of 2025 is the thing that's going to be defining. And I think, to Shahaf's point, this emergent private DeFi category, which it's really, not only do we intend to lead this, but we've got our work cut out for us to really set this. This isn't something that is a category that people have defined, but we are defining it, and we do expect this to be something that will be knowledge, that will be a trend, will be something that in the long tail you'll be able to sort on CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, etc. by private DeFi, that you'll be able to have private DeFi categories on DeFi Llama. This is all a category that everyone's going to become accustomed to, but that just shows again how early the team is and how early Shahaf has been about thinking about these things, because this is where it's headed. I mean, it's obvious. The writing is on the wall. It's an unstoppable force, but it's also the next step if these things want to grow. If perps wants to grow, if prediction markets want to grow, they'll keep getting users, but if they want to actually really scale up, it's privacy that will let them do it.
So Shahaf, you were saying earlier how AI, can make somebody so powerful. Brad's talking about how, making COTI the easiest blockchain to build on is really a goal for 2026. We see what's happening with the Stay COTI live streams, what's going on with Yaru. So is there something else there for 2026? Like you talked about vibe noding, Privex is talking about, vibe trading agents. Is there more in the book for 2026 with AI for COTI?
Yes. Like when we were talking amongst ourselves in the leadership team, the goal is not just to be the easiest blockchain to build on, but actually to be the easiest blockchain to build a business on, right? So what does that mean? I think building and marketing became far more accessible with AI. And what Yaru does, this initiative, is to actually teach people how to do so, right? We had the first cohort, and many people participated in that. And it teaches you how to build, how to market using AI, right? And then you can use COTI to build multiple things on, but the education is there regardless. So with we've released the first prompt packs, which was kind of like introduction to folks. So I know that I can vibe code, but I haven't, because there's still, I know it's easier, but it's maybe a bit difficult. There are systems there. There's this Lovable and Cloud Code, and I don't know. We want to lower the barrier, and we want and you do that with education, but also demonstrations and making it super easy. Like I think the Santa game experience was copy this, paste it here, press OK, and ta-da, you've built your first game. Okay, you want to do more? Let's do more. You want to add a private token to it? Let's do that. So and people loved it. So this was kind of like the taste of what's coming in 2026. In 2026, we're going to make it even more accessible. We're going to improve Yaru. We're going to improve the education, and we're going to let people build things on top of COTI. We're going to let them launch tokens. We're going to help them with. We're going to teach them how to market what they've built. We're going to help them with that. We're going to help them with liquidity, launching, etc. The goal is to make to allow people to convert themselves from being token holders to builders. Okay, if they ever wanted to do that, if they ever wanted to change things, to build something, to try something else, right? So we're going to make that far more accessible and there's so many details into that. But for me, this is the most exciting thing. I've seen a few products out there that people have built on top of COTI or around COTI, like say COTI News, etc., using AI. This, for me, is the best possible thing. So a lot more of that by lowering the bar even more to letting people do their first experience.
I love what you're saying there. You're not talking about just, upgrading the ecosystem and the network. You're talking about upgrading the user base's potential and turning people into solo entrepreneurs. It's a really cool angle. Before I shift gears a little bit, I just want to see, like, Brad, is there anything you wanted to add there? It was your comment about making COTI the easiest blockchain to build on.
I don't think so, no. But I think it's remarkable how quickly we've ramped up that effort. Like, it's something that we really started last year. We've now seen, Yaru established. We've seen the inaugural cohort of builders go through that program. Even the Santa campaign, that's a non-trivial thing. People are demonstrably adding value to the network, be that in the form of transactions or leveraging confidential tokens. Like, to go from where we were to where we are in 6 months is a really, really quick effort. And it's going to be a big focus to scale it into 2026, and we want to do it in a big way. But like Shahaf says, I think we're focusing on the right tools, the right plans, the right packs that will give people to do that very quickly.
Yeah, I'll add to that the hardest thing used to be going from 0 to 1. So I have an idea and I want to create something with that idea. 0 to 1 is now becoming really, really easy. It's 1 to 10 that's becoming very, very hard. And so I love what Shaf said about supporting them, giving all the tools to go from 0 to 1, but then also how do you go from 1 to 3, 1 to 10? That is the next stage of that as a project that people want to do. And I think that I couldn't be more excited for the trend, because I've always said that the best opportunity in this space is to build in it, not to just invest in it. So many people just spend time looking for coins in X spaces, talking endlessly when you could be building. And if you want to build to where the hottest trend is, you build in privacy, right? That's where the mode is. So if you, so I want to build where the hottest trend is, that is in privacy. I want to no longer be a holder. I want to be a builder. I want to make that shift. What do I need is I need good tools. We're giving you those tools, and we're going to make it even easier. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to take what I built and I want to grow it. Okay, we're going to help you do that as an ecosystem, right? That's something that I'm really passionate about from a marketing perspective, is like really lifting up the entire ecosystem and all of the builders and working together. We want to hear from you. We want to work with you. We want to support you. We want to answer your questions. We want to help you market. This is all intended to be built in to what we're doing. And so I just want to encourage everyone to get involved. I do think that the Santa campaign was a great pilot program. We got amazing games. We'll recirculate those again so you guys can see them. But we got more vibe campaigns coming to just incentivize you, to encourage you to make that leap. It's not as hard as you think. It's actually unbelievably easier than you could imagine. And then you are a builder in this space, not just a consumer of it. And I just very excited about that. And I think that also is another way we create a network effect by empowering this entire community to become builders. That means more projects on the protocol. That means more privacy tokens circulating. It's very, very powerful.
For years, I've had a bad attitude about AI, and it's more from a creator aspect, because I see people, especially like crypto influencers, they'll go and they'll get an AI summary from a project, they'll make a video. And especially for us, we were pivoting from V1 to V2. So they would be these new videos, but they would be talking about a mix of V2 and V1. And it was very, very frustrated. So I never really had a big, I wasn't into AI very much. And then so mainnet is coming. we're getting ready to go to Bangkok to kind of celebrate mainnet and host the first vibe coding event. And so I'm in a room with Brad, and Joshua wants us to just become comfortable with some of these vibe coding platforms, just so when we went there for the event, we could help people out and stuff. And I'm like, okay, this is not my thing, right? So we went and we did that, and I was like, it's not my thing. And then I've been watching some of the Stay Cody live streams and stuff, and again, it's not my thing, right? And I've been resisting. But then these PriveX trading agents, right? When I started getting serious with that, it was like all that started coming back. And so now I'm doing it all, right? And it's like it's like having this little staff that can do your bidding. It's like when you talk about going from 0 to 1, it's so true. Like I could not review all my trading logs without AI. I couldn't, so it's unbelievable. But one of the things that I've seen personally, and probably Cody has too, is whenever you talk about the nodes v2 plans, the engagement for those posts is always wild. So let's circle back a little bit, because you glazed over that a little bit. And this is another term that we haven't heard before, but vibe noding. And then again, the no cost to users. I'm just going to bring it back to you, Shahaf. And could you elaborate a little bit more on nodes v2 ecosystem?
Yeah. Okay. So we've decided that instead of asking people to pay for a license, we're going to do something different. We want to make sure that they are, powerful members of our community. So if you have X amount of COTI, right, and it's not too much. Like we don't want it's not for whales. It's not just for whales. And Y amount of USDC on chain doesn't need to be staked or at a leveraged position with private or whatnot, right? You just have it, right? You're part of what we're doing. Then you are eligible to run a node. I mean, okay, anybody can run a node. You don't need our permission. We are permissionless. And by the way, if you do that, there are some bonuses in earn, right, in the platform. But if you want rewards for running a node, then you just need to be, a powerful member of our community. That's that. That's the only thing. So you'll click in, you'll see that you're eligible, and then you say, I want like a hosted experience, white gloves. This provider runs my node. There's a certain fee to be paid every month. The reward should be more than enough to cover it, and you're all good. Option B, I want to be one of these guys that can, spin a node, right? There's always this guy that can spin a node. You can't spin a node, but maybe you can, because again, with AI, it's not that difficult. So we'll give you the prompts, and you can spin your own node as well. And then if the uptime is good enough, right? I think the threshold is in 98%, and you're eligible. Then you'll receive rewards every epoch. So that's step one. Step two will come later, and it's tiers, right? If you're bigger, then maybe a bigger chunk of the rewards. Maybe you can run your own treasury, and so on and so forth. So we've simplified this a lot, got rid of the license experience and the associated costs that comes with running nodes. And this should be, very lucrative, and you're part of transaction validation of the network. And I don't see why this won't be very engaging for people.
Wow. Anybody have anything to add there? Kind of a curveball.
I just love vibe noting. I just think that's so cool. And I haven't heard it anywhere else. So another thing that I want us to coin and run with, because I just, again, think this has been a huge blocker for people who are, investors, token holders, community participants. I know for myself, I've been intimidated by running nodes previously, and I won't anymore. So again, this is like being able to convert all of the community into participants in the network and getting rewards for doing it is just an amazing thing. And then, like, it really is going to be able to grow and empower people to be more involved, which is significant. That's what we want. We want everyone to be involved. We want them to build. We want them to power the network. That is how we grow it. And so it's top down and bottom up. And I think that the node system is this bottom up approach that's really powerful.
But by the way, when in the leadership meeting where we were talking about 2026 goals, so Node V2 ecosystem, it's not its own goal, and it's not like, hey, we need to have products and It's not. It sits under, I want us to be a very engaging community, right? And I want this to be rewarding and engaging for folks that hold COTI. So how do we get there? So yes, we empower people, and you do something that otherwise you probably couldn't have done in the past. And running Node was usually something that, yeah, I love this network. I know that running nodes is powerful, but it's expensive, or I don't know how to do it, and I need to maintain it, and it's just difficult. No, we've lowered the bar. Now you can do it. So now you're not just a token holder like maybe if you have ETH, you just hold ETH because being a validator is expensive and difficult. I know that being a builder can be very lucrative and just very interesting and like something that I always wanted to do, but I can't code, I can't market, I can't. Well, you can. And you can do that with COTI and become, an even more engaged member of the COTI community. So you're not just holding tokens, trading, writing posts, whatnot. Now you can actually build stuff, and it's not difficult. Again, it's not difficult. And again, by the way, I had similar experience with AI. Like, I knew it was powerful, but Joshua is like an AI drug dealer, right? And he's very subtle about this, and he'll be like, "Yeah, this is quite good. You should probably try this." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll try it." And bam, I've built something, and I'm sharing this all around with my friends, and they're like, "What's going on? Like, why are you building websites now?" I'm like, "Because I can." And we want everybody to have these moments. So this is why nodes, treasury, all of that sits under being a strong community and not under products per se.
And I would just say very quickly on nodes as well. I've been in this community for a long time, and I know the dramas over the years of who was selected, have we got 2 nodes in one house, and the rest of it. So I think to have inclusivity and accessibility at the heart of the node ecosystem is great to see, and I know it will land very well.
Yeah, it's funny when you're talking about AI. It's like back in the day when somebody would like text you or ask you a question. It's like, well, why didn't you just Google that now? And so it's like I would keep forgetting about AI, and then now it's like it's finally, after, like you said, Josh was like a drug dealer with this stuff. And it's true. And like finally, after, just seeing those live streams going on and knowing what's going on in our ecosystem, it's like it's finally starting to click for me. And I don't use it for creating, but other stuff in my life. It is like having a little staff at your fingertips. It's incredible. Obviously, there's been some changes with marketing recently, bringing on OFEC and now Amateo. So, I guess one thing I want to ask you, Amateo, is some people might not understand, like, what does a CMO mean at COTI Network? Could you tell us?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So it means a few things. It means that one, I work collaboratively with Shahaf, the leadership team, and the executive team, where we take all of these visions and goals that Shahaf has outlined, and we turn it into concrete plans of how we're going to execute this from a marketing perspective. We also collaborate with products to make sure that the copy, the flow is user friendly, is clear, is understandable, One of my tasks today is to do some of that work on the node system. So a little inside baseball, but that's one of my tasks for today is to provide that marketing input, make sure that all of this stuff is really clear for the user. So there's a lot of product marketing collaboration. That's one of my favorite things to do, because I think that product in itself, when it is user facing, is meant to be, when it's business facing, is meant to be ingrained with marketing. And then, of course, we have the actual marketing team that's amazing, that are doing all sorts of things. So we talked a lot about AI. I've been already, within the last month, transforming how we do things with AI. So my goal is to not have everything be just, the goal is to not have any of it be AI slop, just to be clear. It is to do two things: use AI to create high quality, engaging content, education, collaborative materials, but also to humanize and become more human with how we actually interface with the community. So we talked a lot about vibes today. My big thing that I want to implement with the community is a vibe shift, and that human high touch component, more live streams with the community, lots of collabs with you, Tracer, who just do such a phenomenal job. I'm excited to do all sorts of stuff together, even just get on a stream and geek out on what the trends are, like talk about where things are headed, and just be, I think that this has been something that's really needed and everyone's really craving, right? Is that like high human touch. So internally, we're systematizing, we're becoming more efficient, we're improving how we operate internally so that we can have greater output. Privacy on demand, that's a huge project. There's so much work that's going to go into that project. In order for us to do that in a significant way, we have to be smart, and so AI can allow us to execute smarter. But it's critical that we maintain quality, and that you see quality coming out of everything that we do. Of course, the name of the game of marketing is growth. It's growth. It's bringing new users, new participants. It's encouraging users, as we already talked about, to become more engaged as builders and node operators. It's educating people about how to do things, making sure there's resources and guides, high quality demos, but it's also bridging communities, bringing in new people, bringing in new projects, actually creating that network effect. In marketing, it is essential that all numbers go up. And if numbers aren't going up, we need to be doing more. And we have to monitor that data. We have to report on that data. So it's a very dynamic job. It's something that touches a lot of different things within the organization, but also is unique in the fact that it directly touches the community. And so that is something that is a priority of me. I will say that it's amazing having Brad, having Yaru, having the work that you've done, Tracer. It really is something that we get to leverage in such a phenomenal way that a lot of projects don't have that opportunity. So that was one of the things that just made me really excited, because we could do so much more than what a traditional marketing team would do in how we're going to be executing and growing in 2026. So that's a little inside look to the day-to-day and what you can expect. Mm-hmm.
Shahaf, this is a big pivot for, like, marketing is so important in crypto. And I think a lot of people they say, well, we need marketing. And they don't really understand like what is even legal to market in crypto and what crypto marketing really means. You've had somebody who's been with you for over a decade who's now left, and Amateo is coming in. We have OFEC. So it is like a whole new vibe. It's going to be a whole new vibe with COTI. So I was just wondering if you could tell us like what that's like for you when marketing is so important, and how did you find Amateo and why you think it's the right fit?
Yeah, well, I think Amateo is a great fit. We've interviewed quite a few people. Some launched crypto and PayPal and like did incredible things. And I felt, and the team felt, that overall Amateo is a great fit for us in many ways. But maybe the first thing is sort of human that he is. you know, maybe certain experiences, etc. This can only go that much, right? But attitude, the right attitude, and being a person when that is needed is far more important and takes you further. And we felt Amateo is a great fit. Ofek, not a lot of people knew Natalie that worked with the flat. Ofek is different. Ofek is like mini Joshua in the sense of like he's so updated on all the tools, etc. And he's like grinding. It's crazy to see. So we've worked as a team together for many years, even before crypto. But changes are just an opportunity to kind of like try fresh things, etc. And Matteo really hit the ground running. Like you don't know that Matteo, but someone asked me today from the team. Like I won't mention his name, but it's Yair that asked me how Matteo is doing. And I said, I can't believe he's only with us for a month. And he said, "Yeah, it's like I don't even think about do I need to explain this to Matteo, the context, etc. Like he already knows everything. It's great to see. So yeah, it's fresh. It's great. Efrat and Natalie were amazing. And Norfolk and Matteo will be amazing. And exciting times. And this is why fresh initiatives are coming out and like different colors. It's just different.
Yeah, I got to have a meeting with you, Amateo, and I was a little nervous. Like, what's this going to mean for me? How is this going to change how things look? And like I said this on stream a little while ago. It's going to be different. It'll never be the same. But we had a great chat. And I'm looking forward to doing more of these streams. But that's the thing about marketing, right? It's not an easy gig, and your job is to amplify all the good things that COTI is doing. But sometimes, you have to kind of hit things head on when, things aren't right and didn't, go quite, how you want it. So I know that there are some community concerns right now that Amateo, you wanted to bring up today before we kick off this stream. So I guess this is the trial by fire and the fun part for you, right?
Yeah. I'll have Shahafa address them, but one of the things that we want to do is resolve community concerns. We want to address them early. I told Shahaf yesterday that FUD is like an ember. And if you let it grow, it becomes a wildfire. And even if it's misinformed, even if it's not actually correct information, it becomes something that is really hard to put out versus an ember that you can address early. And so to win across the community to sort of gather some of these concerns and want to them to Shahaf so we can just address them directly. And this is something that we're going to keep doing because I will say this just to introduce this piece, which is when you're on the outside looking in, it's just hard. It's hard to know what's real, what's true. It's hard to know, it's easy to make assumptions. It's hard to get an idea of all of the things that are happening behind the scenes. We have people from all over the world working at COTI, which means that there's work happening 24 hours a day. There's never an hour, there's never a moment that there isn't work happening, whether that's in Israel, whether that's in Bangkok, whether that's in the United States. There's always people that are building and working on this project. It's not easy to get those eyes to see how much is actually happening, the effort that's being put in. And at the same time, there's concerns that show up. So just wanted to sort of highlight that, but I think we can address these. Let's start with COTI and the circulation question. Sure. I think that this is one that's circulated a bit, so let's address it.
I'll just flow and address all of it. My style is always to lead from the front, right? I never ask other team members to hey, deal with this spot or with this nonsense, etc. I'll deal with this personally. because FUD is fear, uncertainty, doubt. It's not just if it's just lies and blunt lies, then I either block or ignore, or even do more. Right? There are certain individuals that have actually received a cease and desist letter from us because people are working super hard, and people have vast interest in COTI and hold tokens, etc. If you go on and spread lies, then we will hunt you because you can't do that in the business world. But I see FUD as like legitimate concerns that people have. I usually find them quite easily. It's not difficult to find FUD. You just post on X, and people will completely ignore what you just wrote and will just write their FUD comment underneath. And then I usually collect these. Complete lies, or just people that all they do is just like, I find pages that people just spread lies. That's the entire existence of that profile. These I block. If I see community members that have concerns, I usually take a note of that, and I will address that in these streams or other formats. And also, like the most difficult type for me would be people that otherwise I see them as kind of like positive and productive members of our community. They will repost things, etc., but then they'll at some point suddenly FUD. Maybe the market got to them, maybe something that they just completely disagree with, whatnot. Those I want to address specifically. Because for me, it means that we've disappointed them for some reason, and I want to address that. So that has been long, but let me just address FUD point by point. I think in order of importance, probably, yeah. Okay, so let's start off with COTI. There's been people were asking, and I think in the Telegram group, etc. COTI circulation is all wrong. There's a lot more COTI out there than what you say, or something like that around COTI. So to be super clear, COTI circulation is exactly as it was planned. We've published graphs. It's exactly as that. It wasn't updated by CMC, which is a CMC thing, but it's up to us to kind of like make sure that they continuously update their circulation. We've worked with them. It's either done or will be done in a few days. So just completely ignore that. It is exactly as it was planned, and will be updated in the systems as well. Legitimate concern. People said that with earn and emissions, that too many tokens go out there for unproductive things. It will create a sell pressure. First off, you heard. It's a delicate balance to being a rewarding protocol and community, to not overdoing it so that we're flooding. So you heard. People said, you are circulating this and that, etc. All of these. So we clear the only thing that is circulating right now is earn. People mentioned the V2 airdrop, etc. All of that is gone. It's done. So it's only earn right now. What we plan on doing is to keep the same budget for earn, but make the season longer. So if nothing changes, earn season 3 will be 3 months. Okay, so that will maybe that is a better balance. We'll measure that. Okay, now the biggest thing that has become an ongoing concern is, and various ways to say the same thing. People say again and again, or some people say, the change of tokenomics was bad for COTI as reflected in token price. So I want to break this down a bit. Maybe start with price. As people should be aware by now, we are in bad market conditions. and that reflects on everybody. Some are doing better than others, but overall the market is just bad. Okay, and I think it's clear that when the market will be better, COTI will be better, just in this specific term of token price, right? So the only thing that we control and can control right now is the inputs we put in, the work. So we'll continue to do the work, and as market shifts, this should pay off. So that's one thing around price, etc. Now let's talk about why we changed the tokenomics, even though we talked about this many times. Maybe for some, it's new. So COTI V2 is a new chain. Everything about it is different. The technology is different. The use case is different. Everything about it is different. And 2 or maybe almost 3 years ago, we needed to decide: are we building a new project? So, for instance, the secret network was around privacy. When they wanted to build Phoenix, they built a new network. So if you hold or held secret at that point, you have nothing of the new project. There's an upside. There's good and bad into that, but I felt that if you are a COTI holder and you wake up one day and the team is building a new project around privacy, it has a different. It's called MOTI. It's not COTI anymore, and you get nothing of it. I think people will be furious, and you know what? They'll be right about this. So, if that is the case, then how do you build your new chain on top of the old chain, right? And so first off, I think we made the right decision. Second, I think privacy was a good choice, again, as evident in the market right now. So it's clear that we were right. Now, if you're building a new chain, you need new supply. It's so evident because you can see that in 100% of the cases out there right now. Everybody that has built a new chain needs supply. Needs supply because you have nodes, you have grants, you have rewards, and so on and so forth. And again, it's very evident. I don't think you need to explain why a new chain needs supply. So we made the conscious decision that the 2 billion tokens were just ground zero for the new chain. And the new supply will be emitted on top of that supply. Now, yes, it means more tokens, but I don't think that this is ultimately what dictates the value of the chain. It's not scarcity because we're not NFTs. It's not that. Eventually, what will dictate the value of our network is this the right use case? And are you getting people to use it, right? So yes, it is the right use case, and we're working very hard to get people to use it. We are already doing in DeFi, what will soon be private DeFi, more than anybody else that is built, at that stage, right? So that's, I think, is very important. The second thing to understand is that we're not just dumping these new tokens or just reward it carelessly. We are very strategic and deliberate in how we reward, and ask anyone that has applied for to get a grant. Brad is sitting there, and it's not easy to please and to get a grant, right? The other thing, and I want this to be very super clear, the team is not selling even one token. At this price, it makes more sense for us to buy, okay? Now, I'm not gonna, I can't say, what we're doing, but let's be very clear. We're not selling tokens, and it makes more sense for us to buy right now. Again, don't look at market conditions and say, hey, it's because of the change of tokenomics. A lot of projects have changed tokenomics because time has passed. COTI is 8 years old right now. Will be 9 years old. Obviously, we've made changes. I think these changes were for the best. And again, I hope that addresses the concerns that people have. But it's just the way it is. And what's important is just to have the longer perspective. And I talked about this in a previous video. Don't think about trading right now. Think about how to accumulate value over time. And that just means making the right bet on where the future is heading. And I think we made that right bet. With that in mind, we have also recently onboarded a tier 1 market maker, which is important, I believe. And we are working on new V2 listings, both on centralized exchanges and on decentralized exchanges. So I hope that answers that. Oh, sorry, last FUD, not as important, but still worth commenting. People say, yeah, well, in many words, bridge is shitty, treasury is shitty, we trap users and so on. Other than again saying you're right, what I want to say is there is a noticeable improvement in treasury and bridge. We see less issues. Probably can't get to 0 issues, but this is the directive: get to 0 issues. And we're completely rebuilding this stack regardless, right? So in 2026, we'll have a new fresh stack. I hope it wouldn't be with new fresh problems. It shouldn't be, but we're building it properly, and it should be a far better experience. We don't, when we're saying that privacy is a moat, we don't mean that we lock users because they can't live with the bridge and so on. That's not the idea, of course. And by the way, with new V2 listings, it just makes that part easier as well. So that's all the FUD I have for today. If your FUD was missed, do what everybody else is doing and post it under my X posts, which I invest time in writing, but just post it there. I'll see it. And if you have good things to say, do not hesitate to post them as well. That is also valued. Yeah, that has been my FUD corner.
That was great. Thank you for that, Shahaf, and hitting all the nails on the head. I hope everyone can be reassured by that. The reality is it's been 3 to 4 years since vintage projects have had a time to shine. But in that time period, while it's been challenging, it's been an amazing clearing of a lot of the low quality stuff that's been out there. And there's a lot of it. And this was, I don't think anyone wanted it to be this challenging for this long, but it has had a positive effect of cleansing the system. Nature is healing, if you will. And on the other side of that, value will accrue to legit projects who are doing legit things in significant ways. So value to value is what I think we should expect on the other side of this. This accrual will happen, and it will give things to shine. And what I've gotten to see during my time here already is that COTI's growing. It's not slowing, it's growing. That can't be said by other projects.
There was a thank you. Please continue. But someone just said, wrote, nobody's using COTI. Like seriously, have you looked at DeFi Llama? Are you serious? Yes, people use Solana more and they use Ethereum more. Absolutely. But have you looked at DeFi Llama? Like I have like 500 million daily reasons to say you're wrong, and like list of partnerships and none of that. But people it's so easy to write these things. So yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, I mean exactly. Like the squeaky wheels are the loudest, and the keyboard warriors always have something to say. But I think the thing that Shahaf said that's really important is that if you are a supporter, if you are a part of the community, make some noise about it. Get involved. Don't just be quietly stewing and get distracted if someone comes along with some information to just be negative, because there's so many reasons to be positive, and we're growing, we're not slowing. You can see that in everything that we're doing. You can see that in the metrics, you can see that in protocol volume, you can see that in all of the new partnerships, the pilot programs, everything that was rolled out last year, all of the plans that we have and we've laid out this year. This is extremely significant, and while it's ambitious, it's also realistic, and we're doing these things, right? Like, it wasn't built in a day. It takes time. It takes time, but the trend has finally caught up with the very prescient leadership decisions that were made and the technological innovation decisions that were made. And now we have the best, fastest, most scalable privacy tech. And while 0 to 1 is getting easier than ever for builders, 0 to 1 is still going to be extremely challenging for privacy protocols other than us for the foreseeable future. So that is the next big gap, is closing the 0 to 1 for privacy. And that is what we'll do this year. And people will get to see that, but not only will they get to see it, they'll get to use it. And so, I think that if you do have concerns, use the tech, try it for yourself, make a game, mint a token, and realize that it's actually private, and understand the actual the actual technological breakthrough and significance that's equated to that you can actually obscure different data selectively, selective confidentiality, what that actually means for institutions. Dig into the stuff that we're publishing, the articles that we're posting. Do the research, do your own research. But when you do your own research, I think that you will come out as many do, which is going, wow, this is wild. And I think the disconnect is, okay, I'm so impressed by everything I'm seeing. When will we get to all benefit from that? The time will come. The time will come.
It's just funny to hear, people say what you just said there, Shahaf, where nobody's using it. I mean, just, from a user who's been here since 2019, I have legitimate things that I sit down and I use every day now. Like, it used to be just stake and wait, post, be a node operator as engaged as you could be. And now, like, I have a routine and I talk about it all the time. I get up, it's Carbon DeFi, it's Privex, it's et cetera, et cetera. And that user can go onto mainnet COTI scan right now and see there's 253,000 transactions today. So it's not nobody. I know we want millions and millions and beyond, but you can't say there's nothing. Before we go, Brad, any closing thoughts? I can see your shoulders are up, like you're ready to talk. I know what it looks like. So
no, I was just in England. It's just always freezing. I'm just warming up. No, it's I echo what you're saying. Look, this isn't just a lot of usage on a lot of blockchains manufactured. This is real usage. This is real world adoption. We have Privex is doing up to $400 million in volume in a day. We have the ARB bot from Carbon DeFi breaking records on chain every day. Statwig are completing pilots now with UNICEF, the government of Bangladesh. COTI are playing an active role in the efficacy of vaccines administered to children around Bangladesh, and that's happening now as we speak on our chain. So the usage is there, and it's real, and it will be sustainable. From me, just looking ahead for this year, very excited. I think it's going to be a really big year for us. We're very clear on what we're honing in on, which is, as Shahaf has said, private DeFi, private RWA, private PayFi, and privacy on demand. This is the year for execution on privacy on demand. So very big year, big parts to play in it for all of us, but very excited to do so.
I know we're 20 minutes over the hour, but I want to thank you, Shahaf, for addressing all the FUD. And maybe, we can convince you in the next one to do like your own version of mean tweets, because I think that would be really fun. But Amateo, it was great to meet you. I'm glad that everybody from the community finally got to hear what you're all about. I think we covered a lot of cool stuff today. 2026, COTI is going to take privacy mainstream after talking about it for years. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening today. Please share the stream, comment, post, like, and engage with us. And like Amateo says, this is going to be happening all more frequently. So tune in next time, and until then, stay COTI, everyone.
Stay COTI. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.